perfect are these jalapenos. Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Miss Yancy and this is the Miss Yancy Network. Guess what? We're in my garden. First and foremost, it is garden season. Congratulations to all of you guys that have started your seeds and got it to maturity, and now you guys are about to release it into this cruel world. But I know y'all have y'all little babies prepared for the cruel world. Y'all had all the big talks, right? Okay, well, it's my turn to release my baby into this cruel world. Okay, so today we will be transplanting.
You're doing your video.
Be careful.
Hello. I just came back from school.
Okay. I will be transplanting my peppers today. I'm about to show you guys how to transplant your peppers. All of the tips and tricks you need to grow some strong, healthy peppers that will produce you a ton of harvest, okay? So come along with me. Let's hurry up and get this in the ground because it's going to be raining the rest of the week. And I just want to hurry up and get as many things in the ground as possible. So let's transplant these beautiful peppers. Today I will be transplanting my bell peppers and possibly some hot peppers. I don't know yet. I'm still waiting on my soil, but today's bell pepper transplant. And if we transplant some hot peppers, I'll let you guys know. Okay, alrighty y'all, come along, let's get this popping. One look and I breathe. All right y'all, this is where we'll be transplanting our peppers. I cleaned out the bed like in the last video with you guys. Y'all saw what I did. I still need to remove some stuff out this bed, but I'm going to be putting some compost on here, and then I am going to be transplanting. I don't think I'm going to turn the bed over this time around because I was told that it's not good to turn over wet soil. I was told that in one of my garden groups. You guys will see all the tools and things that I'll be using today to transplant, and I'll show you guys the fertilizers that I will also be using for my peppers. So this is an 8x8 bed. I put those bricks in the middle to divide them in half. So I put tomatoes back there, and then I'm going to put peppers in here. So divided in half is like a 8x4. So this right here is an 8x4, and let's see how many peppers we're going to get in here. Last year I put a ton of peppers in this little bed, and I feel like there was like no room for it to grow, even though it produced a lot. But this year I'm not going to put as many. I'm saying that now, but let's see what I decide to do. So let's go ahead to the front yard and go grab our peppers and bring them back here. Okay. Y'all, the soil is here. Y'all, now y'all see how I get my soil. I order my soil bulk either on Facebook Marketplace from a landscaping company, and I think it's just cheaper that way to save money on bags of soil, because I feel like you get more bang for your buck. To each his own. If you have like a super small, balcony, deck, however you're growing your food, if you don't have like a huge garden, I won't say huge, but like, my size backyard or, garden, you might not need to buy that. But if you have like my size garden and you have multiple beds, you might want to go that route. It's just cheaper to do it that way, and it saves you on all the plastic that you have to get rid of when you buy tons and tons of bags of soil. Okay. But yeah, so we're super excited. The soil is here, so now it's really real. My husband's going to buy another tarp to put over it because it's going to rain tonight. We need to make sure that our soil don't go nowhere. Okay, so it's really garden season, y'all. Did y'all see that? It is garden season. Don't mind me, I have candy in my mouth. I'm about to show you guys where I keep my compost. I'm about to go get some compost out of the bin to put it in my garden onto the bed for the peppers, and that is like free fertilizers. Remember I told you guys composting is like free fertilizers for your garden, and if you start by next year you will have a ton of compost for your garden. Okay, so let's go get some compost that we're going to put into our garden. So back here is the back of my garden. It's so creepy. I hate coming back here. I never, ever, 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 okay, ever come back here. My husband is the one that comes to the compost every day to put it into the bin. This is where I keep my compost. This is my little compost bin. As you can see, it does not have a top right there. It should have a top so the animals don't go in there and eat everything, but hey, it does not have a top. I think one of the animals ripped it off, so I need like a new compost bin, and I am going to buy one because the animals definitely be in there eating everything. When I tell y'all I saw some really fat bunnies, I'm not even joking. I have a ton of fat bunnies that's been running around here that's trying to get cooked, and I know they taste good because they eating all my compost. At least they're getting fed, so hopefully they'll eat the compost instead of my garden. All right, so let's open this up. Show you what it looks like in there. This is how you know I don't deal with this. He should have ripped these paper bags to put in there, but it's fine. We have like a year for it to decompose, but we put like fruits and veggies in there, and then like grass cuttings or lettuce or whatever, greens, some, you know, paper bag material in there as well, or wood chips in there as well. All right, let's go ahead and get some compost out of here. Ooh, I'm nervous. So I'm just going to have to use some fertilizer because I wasn't going to use like a ton of fertilizer. I was just going to use the compost, but it's not fully composted, so I'm gonna just leave it alone and let it continue to compost. And it probably didn't fully compost because those animals keep eating all of it. Because this right here is the grass cutting from last year, and I think the animals ate all the fruit and veggies, so I'm gonna need to get a compost bin, like a different one that doesn't have space in it for the animals to eat it, because it defeats the purpose. And I have not been back here like since last year, so that's terrible. And it's so crazy because last year I had a ton of compost. Oh my god, I had a ton of compost. Well, that was a waste of time and energy. I think I see some of it like at the very bottom, some of it has decomposed or composted. It should have been up to here. I should be seeing soil like up to here, and I'm not seeing soil, so I need to get a new compost bin. Because when I tell y'all these bunnies have been having a time back here, I've never seen bunnies so fat in my life, like really fat bunnies. One of the things I do have is chicken manure from last year, because my neighbors that live back here, they have chickens and they give me the chicken manure. And chicken manure is really good fertilizer for your soil, so I'm gonna use some of that chicken manure. The only thing I don't like about it is that it smells really bad. Let's see what it looks like. All right, y'all, before we start transplanting, I wanted to give you guys some tips and just give you guys some fundamentals on how to transplant peppers. Before you transplant, remember we grew these from the beginning in the middle of February. If you was here with me, we all did it together, so that means you're exactly where I am. If you started with me, before you transplant your peppers, one of the tips I want to give you guys, that if you guys see like any flower buds or anything like that, like you see right here, you see a ton of flower buds because they're ready to start producing. That means the plant is really stressed, and the mosquitoes have started, y'all. They are everywhere. Oh my gosh, here they come. They are ready to start eating me up. But yeah, so you want to go ahead and remove those flower buds, okay? I know it's painful to do. It look like mini peppers. Just remove them. They're gonna grow back, but what you're doing is creating a stronger pepper plant. It forces the pepper to produce branches on the sides. When you remove like whatever flowers that you see on the top or mini looking peppers, it forces the pepper to focus on producing branches, and more branches that comes on the pepper gives more peppers, you know, later on in the future. So during that time of harvest, like you guys see here, it looks like, you know, branches are about to start forming on this pepper because I have been pinching off the little flowers off of them. First of all, they're stressed because they're in this cup and it's time for them to be transplanted out, so they're thinking that this is their final destination, so they want to produce in here, but this is not their final destination. So we're going to remove this and transplant them, but removing the little flowers is going to not only strengthen the plants when you transplant it, it's going to force it to focus. Instead of focusing on producing fruit, it's going to focus on producing branches, which later on is going to produce a ton more peppers. So you want to go ahead and just remove all of them. I know it's painful to do because you feel like, oh my gosh, the peppers. When I did my garden workshop and I made them remove, like, you know, these little buds. Oh my gosh, they were panicking like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen to my peppers? Nothing's gonna happen. You're actually gonna be really happy that you did this, because you're gonna have millions of peppers, you know, when it's time to harvest. And then secondly, some people, they would like top the pepper off. What that means is basically cutting the top of the peppers, because usually when peppers first start to grow, they want to start producing at the top. So some people, they cut the top off, which forces the plant now to, you know, it forces the roots to start producing, you know, more side shoots and things like that, because they don't have, you know, they're not using all of their energy to focus on producing a fruit. So now they have to focus on producing more branches. So a lot of people top them off. I haven't been brave enough to do that yet. And remember, when you top your peppers off, peppers already take extremely long to grow. They're going to take way longer for them to actually, you know, get to the point where they start fruiting. And so I have not been brave enough to do that yet, but I do know that people do that and it works for sure. If you have like a longer growing season, you know, if you're in like zone 9 or 10 or anything like that, you probably can top your pepper off and it works out for you, because you have a long growing season and you're not worried about, am I going to get harvest very soon? So we're not doing that. I'm not doing that. You can if you are in, you know, those type of zones, but just remove all of the buds, okay? I promise nothing's gonna happen. All right, the second thing that you want to do before you transplant your peppers is remove the bottom leaves from on there. You just want to go ahead and remove like the bottom leaves before you plant them, because peppers do not like their leaves wet. So you want to remove any bottom leaves that's going to touch the soil. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and transplant. And remember, peppers are not like tomatoes. You're not going to plant them extremely deep into the ground. The stem of the pepper, they're not going to root into the soil. Tomatoes, the stem of the tomatoes will root into the soil, so a lot of people tend to plant them deep, which creates like a stronger tomato, but you don't do that with peppers. So when we transplant this pepper, like exactly where it is, as you see right here, that's as far in the ground as it's gonna go. So this entire cup right here is what's going to be into the ground, and then the rest of it is going to be up. And just make sure that none of the leaves are touching the soil, because they don't like it. They might start to turn yellow, you know, and things like that, and you might get a little worried. It doesn't really mean much, but they just don't like their leaves wet and they don't want to touch the soil. So those are tips, you know, to give you before we start transplanting. As we transplant, I'll give you guys more tips and tricks on how to grow really big, strong and healthy peppers. Okay, so come along, let's go start transplanting, and then we're gonna continue. Before we go, you guys see that I have some chicken manure that I'm going to mix the soil with. I'm just going to use a little bit of chicken manure, but if you don't have chicken manure, you know, and things like that, no worries. But here are some really good natural fertilizers that you can use into your garden that your peppers will love. But you know, of course, you want to be very gentle with how you fertilize. You don't have to come and add the entire bag. Adding the entire bag of fertilizer doesn't even guarantee that your plant's gonna grow strong. It might actually kill it. So just remember, like when you're fertilizing, too much of anything is not good, period. So, and we fertilize, you know, every 2 weeks when it comes to peppers. Another major thing that I want you guys to remember, when you are growing peppers and you're growing in containers or raised beds, we are the ones that's providing the nutrients to the plant that's in there. Whereas if it was growing into the ground already produces its own nutrients, and the roots of the plants will find nutrients wherever it can. It knows what it needs and it's going to go and look for it. But when you are growing in a container or a raised bed, we're responsible for all of the things that go into the plant. So here are some of the fertilizers that I use in my garden for all of my plants. And one of them, of course, you guys already know, I love my worm castings. This is a 12-pound bag. I got it from Costco. And then I have some Epsom salt. Epsom salt provides magnesium, especially peppers. They love it. Once you see like the leaves starts to get yellow and things like that on the pepper plant, if it's not because of watering, because sometimes, you know, if you overwater, your peppers will turn yellow. But if it's not because of overwatering and you're noticing that your pepper plants are turning yellow and you're growing in container or raised beds, you want to go ahead and add some Epsom salt to that. And then, oh, I don't have it here, but bone meal and fish meal are also really good natural fertilizers that you could fertilize your plants with. Okay, so now you'll know the fertilizers that we will be using. Let's get started into transplanting, and I'll give you guys more tips and tricks on how to do that. Okay. All right, y'all, I'm about to put a little bit of this chicken manure in there. When it comes to like things like chicken and cow manure or even horse manure, some people use, you want to be very gentle with how you mix it because it can be pretty harsh. So I'm not putting a ton in there, just a little bit to mix it in there, and then we are going to get started. right, y'all, so one of the most important things you want to make sure when you're transplanting is that you have a soil that is going to drain very well. You want to make sure that whatever soil that you are transplanting your peppers or any plants for that matter, you want to make sure that your soil is like this. So mind you, this is soil from last year. What I had in here was leaf compost and topsoil mixed in here, so the soil is very aerated. It's very, easy to work with. This time around, for the other soil that I just got delivered, it's kind of different. It's topsoil mixed with compost, so we're going to see how that's going to be. But for this soil, it's very, it's very aerated. So you want to make sure you have like really good soil. You want to make sure that you wet or you water your peppers a little bit before you transplant it, because it's going to help with transplanting shock, especially if you did not harden your plants outside. But you guys harden your plants, right? I know you're hardening your plants. If you've been following my method, I know you're hardening your plants. So we're not going to go there. So you want to dig a hole that is deep enough. I'm going to be using this right here. So this is a 4-inch deep. So this is going to dig up to 4-inch deep. You can see it right here. It says the measurement. I got this from, I think, Home Depot or Lowe's, so you can find it in there. It just makes digging the hole very easy before you transplant, especially things like peppers and stuff like that. And transplanting them in like a hole that's about 3 to 4-inch deep is good enough. Just make sure that, like you see right here, like I told you guys, make sure it's as deep as the roots go. So this, this right here is pretty much it. So this is really good enough for the hole that we're going to dig for these peppers. Now, as far as spacing, so peppers can be planted pretty close to each other, because as they grow, they're gonna lean on each other, especially when they start to get bigger and the fruit starts to get bigger. These are the bell pepper plants, and bell peppers, they tend to get pretty heavy when it starts to grow fruit. So you want to have like, a bunch of them next to each other so they can lean on each other, because they will lean. Later on, you're gonna find out that you will need to support your peppers. If you don't have a bunch of them, next to each other, you're going to need to support them, because once they start leaning, they lean all the way down. They get really heavy. So if you plant a bunch of them next to each other, they'll lean on each other. But also they need enough space to grow, because these peppers grow really big. They grow into a really big tree. You guys saw how big they got last year. So last year I planted a ton next to each other. I feel like I planted like 5 in a row. This year I think I'm gonna do like 3 in a row like that, and we'll see how it happens this time. I mean, I still got a lot of peppers that I produced last year, but I'm gonna see if planting less is going to make it produce even more than what it produced last year. So we're trying something different this year, so let's try it out. All right, let's get started. Oh, also, these are some eggplant that I brought. I'm going to be companion planting it with these. So eggplants, these are like the royal purple eggplant. They get pretty big. The leaves get really big. So the goal here is to attract the slugs to eat the eggplant instead of eating the pepper leaves, because these leaves grow so big and luscious. I mean, I tried it last year. Honestly, I don't think it really did anything, but I'm gonna do it again this year and see what happens. Also, they're a really good companion plant because they're not competing for the same nutrients. So you could plant eggplant with peppers, and the eggplants also grow as tall as peppers, even though these are like super tiny, but we'll see. Typically, I will also plant like flowers in between my peppers when I grow them. They help with pest issues, things like marigold and stuff like that, but I don't have them right now. So I will add them in here later in between somewhere, or probably at the perimeter of the garden bed. When I go get some, I have some sunflower and things like that I want to put in here. But first, I just want to transplant all of the peppers, and then I'll go ahead and add the flowers later. All right, so come along, let's transplant these babies, and I'll let you guys know. Whew. All right, y'all, I am done. Okay, I am officially done with this bed. I still have a million peppers to plant. I'm going to plant some peppers in there. I'm actually going to plant the hot peppers in there. What I just planted was the bell peppers. I just wanted to come on here to show you guys how to plant the bell peppers. When I plant the hot peppers, I'll probably do it with y'all, but we'll see. Y'all know how to plant peppers now, right? All right, so now we're just about to sprinkle a little bit of fertilizer, and then we're going to water it. I'm going to lightly water it because it's supposed to rain for the next couple of days, but since I just transplanted them so they don't have transplant shock, I'm going to water it a little bit and then leave it alone for the next, couple of days. All done. That's how you transplant peppers. That's how you do the thing. That's how you fertilize. This is how I got a ton of peppers last year. With the exception of this year, I did it a little different. I did not plant as many peppers in the bed as last year, and I still think this is quite a lot of peppers in this one bed because they grow so huge, but last year it was way more than this, so I did a little better. Also, peppers like to be crowded because they want to lay on each other. Like I told you guys earlier, they use each other for support. But that's it, y'all. That's how you do it. And I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one because I got a million other transplanting to do, and this was my first transplant. Woo, woo, woo. I am so happy it's in the ground, and then I got a million more to go. Y'all saw the soil that just came in? Boy, oh boy, my back is already hurting. And y'all see the little thing that I sit on? It's like an exercise mat. They have things, for you to kneel on and things like that to make gardening easier on your body. So do whatever you need to do to make gardening easier on your body because you do a lot of bending and lifting and things like that. So just try to be safe when you're doing that so you don't hurt yourself, okay? But alrighty, y'all, that's about it. That's how you transplant peppers. And we're done. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I don't know what the next one would be, but it's probably gonna be the hot peppers or the tomatoes, but it's one of them. Y'all about to see all the things that we just transplanted. Y'all saw that I added the eggplant in the front because they're still super tiny. I put them in the front because I want them to be able to grow. I usually would have put them in like the middle amongst the other ones, but I decided to put them in the front because they're so tiny so that it can be able to grow, and then they're not tower upon, and they need to get as much sunlight as possible to grow. So we're gonna see how it's gonna go this season. All right, y'all, I'll talk to you guys later. Remember, you're exactly where you're meant to be in this moment. Happy gardening. I'm so happy to be saying this, y'all. We're in the garden. Look at this. Look at this. We're in the garden, y'all. My favorite part. But all right, y'all, see y'all later. Bye. And remember, y'all, if you're looking for organic heirloom seeds, go ahead in the description of this video and grab your pack of seeds in my Etsy store and get your garden popping. Bye, y'all. Happy gardening. Signature luxurious body butter is packed with all natural skin loving ingredients such as cocoa butter, coconut oil, shea butter, vitamin E oil, and baobab oil. Whipped to perfection, it is lightly made to be easily absorbed into the skin without clogging your pores. This body butter is free of parabens, sulfates, and synthetic fragrances. Your new bestie.